Hello everyone, Juxtaposition here. Today's video will be entitled Canyon Country. And of course I'm referring to my favorite kill boxes on the West Coast, which would be in Los Angeles County and specifically tucked away in the Santa Monica mountain range, which runs from Malibu through Pacific Palisades, Calabasas, Hidden Hills, to the Getty Museum, that's right, the Getty Museum, over to Mulholland Drive, not to be confused with Mulholland Highway, which is also nestled into the Santa Monica mountain range, and continues in an easterly direction through Benedict Canyon, Franklin Canyon, Coldwater Canyon, Laurel Canyon, Nicols Canyon, Runyon Canyon, and then the Hollywood sign atop Griffith Park and the Griffith Observatory and United States military 5G tower missile guidance system atop the hill over the Hollywood Freeway, Highway 101, and Interstate Imperial Highway number 5. You do know that Griffith Park is nestled between the Hollywood Freeway 101 and Interstate 5 Imperial Freeway on the east side. All right, so with that said, let me just state some basic personal beliefs that I have. I wouldn't believe a single thing that you hear a politician say. I wouldn't believe anything that you hear anyone who appears on television or a social media channel that has hundreds of thousands of viewers. If you have hundreds of thousands of viewers, your channel is completely compromised, okay? So just forget about network television, forget about cable, forget about social media alternative channels that have large audiences. Forget about them, okay? And forget about what Robert Kennedy Jr. says. Whatever comes out of his pie hole is going to be disinformation, untrue, and he's not going to be having the authority to make any decisions whatsoever, including what ice cream he's going to be eating if he ever decides to get a real job, which I don't think he ever was. He's never had a real job. He has no intention of getting a real job. He's just farming the Kennedy military intelligence franchise. I wouldn't believe a single thing you hear out of the pie hole of Ron DeSantis, a Yale, Harvard Law School graduate whose sister was murdered in London mysteriously when she was engaged to a London banker. I wouldn't believe anything about Ron DeSantis' prisoner dilemma game, Office of Navy Intelligence, judge advocacy, who pretended to defend detention prisoners at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, which the military has always controlled Cuba for well over 130 years, if not longer. And I wouldn't believe anything that Ron DeSantis said. He is a fake, phony Navy intelligence spook. I wouldn't believe anything that Dianne Goldman Feinstein says or her representatives say or anything Nancy Pelosi says or anything that her drunkard husband Paul Pelosi says. I wouldn't believe anything. I wouldn't believe anything that Ricky Schroeder says. These people are skilled at occasionally throwing tidbits of the truth into things, but their script, and they are reading a script, is approved by the clandestine services, which would be the bank anthropologists that control all these people, including Oliver Silverstein Stone, who became a Buddhist, a Jewish Buddhist. I wouldn't believe anything they say. I wouldn't believe anything that their dramatist films imply or import. They're all fraudulent and phony. That's the whole point of naming Hollywood Tinseltown. It's Tinseltown because it's fake, okay? It's the Magic Kingdom. It's to capture your imagination and thereby capture your mind. That's the purpose of Disneyland. That's the purpose of child entertainment. That's the purpose of parochial school education, which is military. That's the point of going to a military academy. That's the point of going through boot camp. It's to obey. We're in a maritime law paradigm, dynamic, and it is listen and obey, follow orders, and do not question the chain of command And oh, by the way, there's an oath of secrecy. So keep those lips zipped. All right, so within that framework, let me go through. I have 12 canyons that I'd like to just explain to you. Now, don't feel bad if you're from London or if you're from Manhattan, New York, or one of the, what do we call them, the boroughs of New York City. Don't feel bad, because there are people who live in Los Angeles, who live in Pasadena, who live in Glendale, who may live in Orange County, who may live in Laguna Beach or Newport Beach, or maybe they live in Alicio Viejo or Mission Viejo or Santa Margarita or Trabuco Canyon, and they, or Anaheim or Santa Ana, they may not understand that there are a dozen military canyons further north from Griffith Park, the Hollywood Freeway, West Hollywood, over to Beverly Hills, over to Bel Air, over to the Getty Museum by the San Diego Freeway 405, then into Brentwood, and then from Brentwood to Pacific Palisades, right? And then north, well, further west and a bit north to Malibu and Topanga Canyon. So let me just start in the east, the most east portion by the Imperial Highway 5. Please do feel free to Google map these locations. They're quite historic, and they've been military for hundreds of years, and I'd like to emphasize more than 200 years. All right, and so the Hollywood Bowl, which I think everyone's heard of, amphitheater, that's not an accident that that's where it's positioned. The Hollywood sign, it's not an accident that that's where it was positioned. Where Walt and Roy Disney were given housing in Silver Lake, Los Feliz neighborhood, it's not an accident. There are no accidents. It's not an accident that all the Hollywood artists, all the music stars, all the film stars, all the television stars live in Bel Air, Benedict Canyon, Coldwater Canyon, Laurel Canyon. It's not a surprise that they live in Calabasas or Hidden Hills or Malibu or the Malibu Colony or Pacific Palisades. It is not an accident that Arnold Schwarzenegger, the steroid beauty queen, it's not an accident that he would live in a military complex in Pacific Palisades. It's not an accident. That's assigned housing. That's to keep surveillance on the social engineering actors. That's why you shouldn't believe Ricky Schroeder or Agnes Moorehead or Oliver Stone. When you see them talking, just know it's fake. They're fake, and what comes out of their pie hole is fake. So just delete them. I don't care if you like what they're saying or not. They're not legitimate people. Okay, they sold their souls long ago. All right, so the very first military facility that I will mention is directly above the Hollywood sign in Griffith Park. We have an observatory, and adjacent to the observatory are a series of disturbing 5G towers, which one of my subscribers tells me they have a missile guidance system transponder there as well, nestled in between the 5G smart grid towers. I have absolutely no reason to doubt that, okay? I mean, you can go and look at drone footage, or you can go jogging or hiking or mountain biking above the Hollywood sign, and you will indeed find massive amounts of 5G towers in that location. And that's military. 5G means military. It's got nothing to do with your mobile phone. Nothing to do with your mobile phone. Your mobile phone worked before they installed all those 5G towers. All right. The next canyon adjacent to the Hollywood sign is officially called Runyon Canyon. That's where they found the dead corpse of Lindsay Perlman recently in February 2022. And I believe she was 42 years old. And she was a television actress, found dead in her car with the radio playing at and around 7:30 a.m. in the morning near the front gate of Runyon Canyon. Runyon Canyon is down up the hill from where Joan Didion and John Dunn lived on Franklin Avenue. It's walking distance to where Janis Joplin was done away with at the Landmark Hotel, which is across the street from the Magic Castle, which is across the street from the Dolby Theater for the Academy Awards, which is 2 blocks from where Ashley Ellerwin was murdered, where Dominic Dunn's daughter Dominique Dunn was murdered, where Rebecca Schaefer was murdered in this neighborhood, where Decker, Thomas Albert Decker, was murdered in his bathtub, and they called it a suicide, even though his hands were handcuffed and he had a ball gag in his mouth and he had syringes in both shoulder blades. It's a suicide in this neighborhood. Okay, next door to Runyon Canyon is Nicols Canyon. Now, most people haven't heard of Nicols Canyon, but it's noteworthy because Sam Kinison wrecked his Corvette. He missed a corner in Nicols Canyon, and just below the Natalie Wood compound, which is 7708 Woodrow Wilson Drive, which technically is Laurel Canyon, which is the canyon next door to Nicols Canyon. So you follow me? I'm going from the Hollywood sign west, and I go to Runyon Canyon, where we got a dead body. I'm going to Nicols Canyon, where I got a sober Sam Kinison, not on drugs, wrecking his Corvette below the Natalie Wood house. Natalie Wood was murdered. Was she not? Drowned, thrown into the Santa Catalina Harbor like a sack of potatoes? Then I got Laurel Canyon. I got more murders than I have fingers, okay? Laurel Canyon. And in Laurel Canyon, of course, we have the United States Air Force underground facility partnered jointly with Disney Studios, 100,000 square feet underground lair at 8935 Wonderland Avenue, atop Laurel Canyon, above Elvis Presley's home, above Larry Flynt, the pornographer's home. Larry Flynt lived less than half a mile from where Elvis Presley lived on Hillcrest Road in the Truesdale Estates. There's Larry Flynt. And that is, of course, where they put John Lennon on his Lost Weekend, which was actually 9 months, with May Pang. He spent 9 months in Hollywood and Santa Monica, and they called that the Lost Weekend. He also spent 9 months in East Side Manhattan, 9 months with May Pang on the east side of Manhattan. And that adds up to 18 months without Yoko Ono involved. But she did call incessantly every day, so they never could completely get away from her. But my point is that this is what Laurel Canyon is known for. This is Lookout Mountain Road, Lookout Mountain Drive. This is where Frank Zappa had a free house at 2401 Laurel Canyon Boulevard. Laurel Canyon is where George Harrison was done away with, killed, murdered, died of cancer. This is where William Shatner's third wife, Noreen Elizabeth Kidd, where she drowned in a swimming pool off Laurel Canyon in Studio City, again below the Natalie Wood compound at 7708 Woodrow Wilson Drive. Below that is where William Shatner lives, about a mile and a half down the hill. Coldwater Canyon is the next canyon over from Laurel Canyon. There we have Debbie Reynolds being killed on the exact same day her daughter was killed mysteriously. Remember Princess Leia from Star Wars? Carrie Fisher? She lived next door to her mother on Coldwater Canyon. They both died on the same day. Okay? I find that suspicious, right? Then next to Coldwater Canyon, we have Franklin Canyon, which is also a watershed reservoir. And there was where William Randolph Hearst lived with his girlfriend, Marion Jones, who he never married because he never got divorced from his wife. Meanwhile, Marion Jones is also dating Thomas Ynez, who lives on Benedict Canyon Drive, which is the next canyon over. And of course, Thomas Ynez, he's married also, and he's a Hollywood producer-director. So that's, you go Coldwater Canyon, Franklin Canyon Reservoir, and you got Benedict Canyon. And directly at the top of the mountain, that's where you got Jack Nicholson living. That's where Marlon Brando lives, and that's where Shirley MacLaine's brother, Warren Beatty, he lives atop Benedict Canyon in close proximity to Franklin Canyon Reservoir on Mulholland Drive. All right, Benedict Canyon, again, I have more homicides in there than I have fingers. But the point is, I got Superman George Reed's getting killed in there. I got Thomas Ynez, Marion Jones's boyfriend. I got him getting murdered there. This is all in the kill box of Sharon Tate. I've got Jean Harlow's husband getting killed in there on Easton Drive, where Jay Sebring happened to be living but not staying when he got killed on Cielo Drive. Cielo Drive is next door to where Superman was killed. George Reeves. This is where Doris Duke lived. This is where Ruti Valentino lived in the Falcons Crest home. Literally 250 yards away from the Sharon Tate murder scene. 250 yards, 2.5 football fields away. I hope I'm making my point here, people, that these are all military controlled canyons. Every single one of these. Runyon Canyon, Nicols Canyon, Laurel Canyon, Coldwater Canyon, Franklin Canyon, Benedict Canyon. I haven't even got to Stone Canyon yet. Stone Canyon is home to Art Linkletter and Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock from Star Trek. He lived on Stone Canyon Road. Quincy Jones, who took over from Julio Iglesias, who's next door neighbors of Zsa Zsa Gabor, the Hungarian Jewish girl who's famous for finishing 3rd place in Miss Hungary contest. But she attended school in military academies in Switzerland. Zsa Zsa Gabor, Hungarian Jewish girl who attended military schools. And we have a military school right below the Sharon Tate murder scene. We have the Harvard Westlake Military Academy. Renamed, now it's co-ed, but it's Harvard Westlake. But it started out as an all-boys military academy directly below where Sharon Tate was bayoneted to death by a NATO military bayonet. Anyway, then next door to Stone Canyon, which is also home to Ronald Reagan, 666 St. Cloud Road, and Jerry Lewis, and let's not leave out Lachlan Murdoch, the son of Rupert Murdoch. He lives on Bel Air Road, which is right next to Stone Canyon, and right next to Stone Canyon Road. Google it. I double dare you. Then we find ourselves going west. We have the San Diego Freeway, which is also known as Highway 405. Atop the west side of the 405 is the Getty Museum with its underground facility, which nobody talks about. Then the next canyon over is Mandeville Canyon. That's home to Oliver Silverstein Stone. He lives on Mandeville Canyon Road. You could throw a baseball from Oliver Stone's tennis court and hit O.J. Simpson's white Bronco parked on Rockingham, because O.J. Simpson lived off Mandeville Canyon Road also, on Rockingham, which is one street to the east. It's the same zip code. All right. Then, as you make your way further west, you'll of course come to where Charlie Miles Maddox was kept in a CBS Masonic home, the Will Rogers 6-acre estate at 14400 Sunset Boulevard, which is technically Pacific Palisades. This is home to Rustic Canyon and Rivas Canyon, and this is where Arnold Schwarzenegger lives in. He's got 2 military canyons, Rustic Canyon and Rivas Canyon, which have hiking trails and surveillance activities. This is also home to the Getty Villas. In other words, the Will Rogers hunting lodge is neighbors with the Getty Villa family in Pacific Palisades, home to Arnold Schwarzenegger, the steroid beauty queen, because there could never be a steroid gubernator of California without steroids. And what a coincidence that Arnie was lifting weights in Venice Beach, adjacent to the Straight Satan CIA Drug Distribution Center, where they sell drugs. I wonder if Arnie got his steroids and amphetamines from the Straight Satan's Motorcycle Club. You know, that was their name, the Straight Satans. Over in San Fernando Valley, we have the Satan's Slave Motorcycle Club. And of course, that's home to pornography. And that's on the north side of the Santa Monica mountain range. And where the CBS television studios are, along with hundreds of pornography studios. We have the Santa Ynez Canyon, which is also graces the area between Topanga Canyon and Pacific Palisades. And that is my final canyon I'm going to discuss, is Topanga Canyon, which is a military complex of its own. And I'm not going to get into the fact that Neil Young lived over there, and that's where they found the yellow school bus that had been painted black mysteriously by some CIA operatives that we don't know their names. The bus was found at the Spiral Staircase home at Old Topanga Road in Old Topanga Canyon, which is where Gary Hinman was stabbed to death a gajillion times on Old Topanga Canyon Road, in close proximity to where the school bus that's attributed to Charlie Manson, who didn't exist in real life, but there was a Charles Miles Maddox, and supposedly he spent some time on a school bus that had been painted satanic black. Anyway, I don't like to get into cover stories for NATO because, you see, Satan is one of the best covers they got going, okay? Because the fact of the matter is that all these 12 canyons are military, and they're all under NATO military authority. From the Missile Guidance Tower atop Griffith Park, where Walt Disney had a mansion of 6,188 square feet, which Lino LaBianca lived in for 7 years, the Walt Disney Mansion below the Hollywood sign in a military complex, and you're surprised that Lino LaBianca got bayoneted 7 times to his chest? Why? He was a United States Army military policeman in Europe during and after World War II when they were setting up NATO. There's Lino LaBianca. He knows all about NATO. He got killed by NATO. He was quitting. He wanted to go race horses in San Diego County. Yeah, San Diego County is not congruent with doing money laundering activities in West Los Angeles. I'm sorry. So we follow orders or people die. That's what Jack Nicholson said. Hey, he would know. He's going to Laker games and he's not wearing a face diaper. Like Leonardo DiCaprio is wearing a black satanic face diaper at the Laker games. So, again, let me run through. We got Runyon Canyon. You got Nicols Canyon. You got Laurel Canyon, Coldwater Canyon, Franklin Canyon, Benedict Canyon, Stone Canyon. I got Mandeville Canyon, Santa Ynez Canyon, Topanga Canyon, Rivas Canyon, Rustic Canyon. That adds up to 12 military canyon kill boxes. They use them primarily for surveillance, pacification and control, porn films, porn sets, shelter in place, paparazzi choke points for the paparazzi, which are kind of like Gestapo babysitters for the actors. And they're also used for homicides as necessary as time goes on. Hope you enjoyed my video. Do hit the like and subscribe. I am shadow banned. Take care. Have a great day.